Hello everyone, this is Aryan from More Than Just a Game, and today we will go through how to set up our Diceslots template and use it in your game. We offer free and paid online support, so feel free to contact us for any questions or suggestions. For this tutorial, I'll be using Unreal Engine version 5.4, but the template supports anything newer than 4.21, so you can use any version that's compatible. So to start, we'll go through our files we have in the template, and we will start with our blueprints and then our structs. These are just some structs that I'll be explaining about their functionality. There are 4 structs over here, but 2 of them are basically just used in the game logic. You wouldn't have to get yourself involved with them. But the 2 that you have to use in the data asset that we'll explain later on are these 2, point to reward and symbols. So point to reward basically explains if you get X amount of points in the game, it would translate to Y amount of reward in return. The symbols also contain some info about the symbols that are displayed on the screen. First one is symbol identifier. This isn't used for like visuals or displaying. This is only used in the logic to distinguish different symbols and detect if the player has won anything. The second one is a float. It explains the chances of appearance for this symbol. And then the points you get if you win this symbol. And the next one is a boolean that would say if this is a bonus or not. We'll explain the functionality of the bonus later. And then the texture for this symbol. Most of the property customizations is done inside the data asset that comes with each variation of the Diceslots you have in your game. For examples, we have put some in the versions folder, and there are some versions by default in the template. I'll just open one of them up. So these are the set of properties you can customize. So you provide a different experience with each variation, regardless of its visuals and looks. So the first one is the version name. This is used to hold some info inside local storage that is only for this version. So remember that this must be unique for the local storage functions to work. The next one is the widget class. This is where the logic for the Diceslots happens, and we'll explain it in more details. The next one is the 2D lobby name. This is for display purposes. If you don't have any 2D lobby in your game, you don't need to fill this. But if you want to use a 2D lobby, you have to provide a name. This doesn't have to be unique, but it makes more sense to be unique. And this is again only for 2D lobbies. This is the thumbnail that will be shown in the menu of the 2D lobby. This is the 3 cards multiplier. So if you win 3 cards in the field, your points would be multiplied by 1.5 in this example. And if you win 4 cards in the field, your points would be doubled. And if you win a full grid, meaning you win a winning line in all the cells of your card, one of the cards, you get this many extra points. The next one is the bet options. So it means that if your bet is set to 1 and if you want to increase your bet, it would go to 2. And if you want to increase it again, it goes to 3, just like that. So it doesn't go up one by one, but it iterates this array. So if you have your bet set to 5 and you want to increase it, the next option would be 10, not 6. The next one is an array of that struct I explained earlier. Its basic function is to hold properties for different symbols we have. We have like 10 symbols in this example. I'll just open one of them up. So it's called bonus, and obviously it's a bonus, so we check the is bonus and set it to true. So you can see it's not set to true for like other symbols because they're not bonuses. The chances of appearing for bonus is 5%, as you can see. We didn't fill the points because bonus doesn't come with any points, but for other symbols we set it to some value. You can just play around with this value to see how it plays out, and you can set it as you desire. So yeah, this goes on for all the symbols, and this is basically the texture, how it's displayed in the game. The next one is again an array of an struct I explained earlier. This basically says that if you get 100 points, it would translate to 2 in reward. If you get 150, it would translate to 3. So if you win something in between, it would fall back to the previous one. So if you win like 120 points, you will still get 2 in reward. The next 3 properties are some sound waves. This is for when the player places a dice row in one of the grids. This is the sound that's played when you lose, and this is the sound that's played when you win. And this is the bonus functionality. We have different functionalities when the player wins a bonus round. And this is the amount to add to jackpot. So this comes with one of our bonus functionalities, which is the jackpot. We'll explain the 3 bonus functionalities we have. And just keep in mind that if you set it to jackpot, you have to fill this value. So the next important thing for any variation of the dice slots is the widget. This is where you redesign the widget as you desire. You wouldn't need to or have to change anything about the functionality, but you have to go through some steps. We have 2 ways to do that. I'll explain the harder one first and then get to the easier approach. So the harder way is to instantiate from this class Diceslots main game widget and name it as you desire, open it up, then open up the parent class, collapse this, and you see this is all inside a canvas panel. You copy this canvas panel, you paste it here, and when you hit compile, it comes up with a bunch of errors. This is because some variables have the same name inside the child blueprint and the parent blueprint. So for example, we have lobby button here and we have lobby button here too, and it wouldn't compile. So all you have to do is just add some underscore or something to the end of all the variables that are inside this tree, and then if you hit compile, it will compile, but I haven't like changed all of them yet, so it wouldn't compile. And then what you have to do after making those renamings is to call a function named override widget views, set this to true, and then hook up the renamed variables here. So for instance, we have 3D, 3 cards multiplier text. We rename it to this, and then we have it here. We just drag it here and hook it up to there. You have to do this for all of them and do the same for the animations. There's just one animation we have in this template, but you'll have to copy that too inside the animations of the child class and hook it up inside this graph to this function. But this takes a while, so the easier way is to use one of the child classes we already have inside the template. So you just open this up, you make the changes, like you change the textures you want, you you reposition the views. I don't know, resize them, whatever you want, change the text or anything, and you won't have to go through this whole thing. It's already set up in the examples we have. And if you want to have different variations, you can just duplicate that child blueprint so you wouldn't again have to go through that overriding function. Then with each variation of the dice slots comes a 3D view. This is only used if you want to have a 3D lobby in your game for this dice slots. This comes with some functions and some variables. This is the data asset that's used for this 3D view. Let me show you in the map. It's over here. You have to set this up to the data asset so it knows which version to play. When you hit play close to it, and then you can just change its looks, the mesh, the material, the textures, anything. And as you can see over here, you can just change this material that's displayed on the screen on the slots machine. So about the bonus functionality, there are 3 built-in functionalities for bonus. First one would be mystery games. Inside mystery games, if you win a mystery game, basically all the rewards for any points would be set to the maximum. So the maximum in this example is 100. So inside the mystery games, any points you get would translate to 100 reward in return, unless you get something less than the minimum points. So if you win anything, you win the maximum inside a mystery game. The next one would be free games. Free games are pretty clear. You wouldn't have to pay for the entry of the game. And then the jackpots. If you set the game to the jackpots mode, each time you play the game, in this example, 5% of your bet would be added to some jackpot. And then if you hit the jackpot by getting a bonus, you would get that jackpot returned to you instead of the usual winning you would get for those points. So you get that jackpot returned to you. The next thing you do if you want to have a 2D lobby is setting up the 2D lobby views. What you can do is going through the same process for the lobby, making a child blueprint, copying the parent tree and then renaming the stuff and then calling the override function. But because it's unlikely that you may have more than one lobby if you're using 2D, you can just directly edit the parent blueprint, which would be here. Or I think it's the other one. Yes, this one. And this is the lobby that you can use. And you can basically just edit this, change the views or anything. The logic is also inside this blueprint, but you wouldn't have to worry about that. This is also compatible with all of our other casino products. We'll do a separate tutorial for how to use multiple products with one lobby. But yeah, you can just edit this here. Then if you are gonna have just 3D for these dice slots games, all you have to do is drag and drop the actor inside your scene and then populate this data asset property and you'll be good to go. So let me just show you. When you get close to it, it says press E to play, and when you do, you get this game presented to you. You can change the bets and all that, do whatever you want, and as you can see, it just guides you. It says that the next column of dice you have, if you put them in here, you may get a winning line. It's aligned and it's likely to get you a winning line. So yeah, you can just play it like that. But if you want to have a 2D lobby, you have to place an actor. It's here. It doesn't have any visuals, so it doesn't matter where you place it. So it's also in here. You don't have to worry about the logic, but you can drag and drop this from here to your scene. And you have to like populate it with some stuff, the data assets you want to have for it. And you have to set this to true too. And then the lobby widget blueprint. When you hit play, you may see something like this. This isn't exactly the 2D lobby I showed you, because we use an alternative 2D lobby for this game, but if you want to have the global 2D lobby that we use for all our products, you just have to open that actor, then hook this up to here, press refresh, and set data assets. Call this function and hook this variable to this, and you'd be good to go. You just have to set the widget here. You can just click on it and select the lobby widget you want to use, and set up your data assets that you want to have in this lobby through this array, and you'd see your versions in here. It doesn't look that aligned, but you can take care of it through the parent widget. And we haven't really selected any sort of special thumbnails. This is just for functionality purposes. You can set up yours, and it would just play out like it does through the 3D lobby. So that's it for the Diceslots template. Feel free to ask any questions you have through the comments or through our support form, and have fun coding.